Hello and welcome to your Fantasy Premier League one-stop shop. I'm your host Stephen Gallagher, world number 3 in points totals over the past 3 seasons. Today we're looking at all the key points for Game Week 34, the blanks and doubles schedule, chip strategies, players to target, fixtures to target, captaincy, and more. If you've been watching on YouTube and have been enjoying the videos, then consider subscribing. We're aiming for 5,000 subscribers by the end of the season. Let's get straight into it, starting with the blanks and doubles schedule. So very quickly on the blanks and doubles schedule, first of all, massive shout out to Ben Crellin as per usual for this graphic. To summarise, this game week is a blank for Palace, City, Villa and Arsenal, and as you can see, game week 36 will be a double and game week 37 will be a blank for some teams, depending on who progresses to the FA Cup final. Now, according to the bookies odds, the teams most likely to double in 36 and blank in 37 are Aston Villa and Spurs and Man City and Bournemouth, but there's still a chance that either Palace and Wolves or Forest and West Ham progress and therefore double in 36 and blank in 37, but all of this depends on the FA Cup semi-final results, which we will know by game week 35. But for this video, I'm going to be basing my analysis on the predictions and therefore assuming that Villa, Spurs, City and Bournemouth all double in 36 and blank in game week 37. So now I'm going to go through each chip and talk about the best time to use them. It will obviously depend on what chips you have left, and this will obviously impact the transfers and decisions that you make now. So I'm going to go in order of the most important chips to prioritize, starting with the assistant manager chip. If you still have your assistant manager chip left, then I think using it on Pep between 35 to 37 is a really nice play. They play Wolves at home in 35 and a possible double of Southampton away and Bournemouth at home in 36. And then in this case, City would blank in 37, so you can swap Pep to a table bonus manager that game week, maybe Potter against Forest at home, depending on how the table is looking by then. Now, if you still have your wild card left, it's probably the most team dependent chip, but I would suggest using it in game week 35 because by then we'll know who doubles in 36 and blanks in 37. But if you don't have a free hit left and you have hardly anyone playing this week, then using your wildcard this week under the prediction that Villa, Spurs, City and Bournemouth are the teams that double in 36, it's definitely a viable option. But if you are free hitting this week or you can field 11 players without taking 3 or more hits, then wildcarding in 35 is the play. Now, if you still have your bench boost, then game week 36 is the best time to use it because you can get more players doubling. What I will say though is that you don't want to tear your team apart for this chip because it often means that you focus too much on that one week and then you sacrifice your team for all the surrounding weeks. And another thing to note is that all the teams that double in 36 will blank in game week 37. So unless you have a free hit to cover that blank in 37, be careful with how many doublers you transfer in for 36. If you still have your free hit left, then again, very team dependent how you use this chip and mostly depends on the other chips you have left and when you plan to use them. But to summarize, the two best opportunities to use your free hit are this game week 34 and then blank game week 37 because they're both blank game weeks. And in terms of deciding which one suits your team best, if you can already field 11 players this week without taking 3 or more hits, then you can probably save the free hit until game week 37. But if you can't do that, then I would say this is the best game week to use it. I myself am using the free hit this week, so I'll show you my current draft later in the video. Finally, on the triple captain chip, if you still have this chip left, then game week 36 is a great time to use it on a City player like Marmoush or KDB, depending on if they get that double against Southampton and Bournemouth or not. But if you're using another chip that game week, like your assistant manager or your bench boost, then the best single game week to use it on, in my opinion, is the final game week of the season. It would be game week 38 on Saka against Southampton away. Obviously, there are concerns with what starting 11 managers will put up on the final game of the season if everything's already wrapped up, but this is the best matchup for the remaining single game weeks in my opinion. So that's a quick short summary of the chip strategies that you can use. Obviously extremely team dependent and also depends on what chips you have remaining and when you plan to use them, but I hope this helped you get an idea of how to approach the upcoming blanks and doubles schedule with your remaining chips. Next up is defenses to target using our fixture difficulty and defensive strength ratings until the end of the season, with the immediate fixtures given more importance than the later fixtures. First in the rankings are Everton. Their upcoming fixtures are really nice, although Tarkowski is out with a hamstring injury, which obviously makes their defense a lot less appealing. He started every single Premier League game for them since arriving in 2022, so he'll be a big loss. But if you still fancy the look of the fixtures, then I'd say Jake O'Brien is the next best thing in that Everton defence. Second in the rankings are Fulham. They've got a great fixture this week against Southampton, and they play Everton at home in Game Week 36. Two really nice fixtures there. Robinson and Sessegnon are definitely the ones to consider, especially Sessegnon, as he's been playing right wing for them, which we love to see from an FPL point of view, a defender playing as an attacker. He's an exciting player to own this game week. Just keep in mind that he's been filling in for Harry Wilson, who's now back from injury and could potentially start, so wait and see on that one. Third in the rankings are Liverpool. They play Spurs this week, and if they win, they'll win the Premier League, so they'll want to put on a solid performance to secure the title. For me, Van Dijk is the best pick. We've seen his attacking threat from set pieces all season. Konate, another good pick at a cheaper price. Outside of those two guys, it's hard to predict the minutes for the fullback spots. We saw Robertson and Trent both get benched last game week, so if you're looking for a Liverpool defender, it's got to be one of these two for me. Fourth in the rankings are Newcastle. They play Ipswich at home this game week, which is a great fixture. My favourite pick from them is Schär. He is more on the expensive side, and if budget is an issue for you, then Dan Burn and Livramento also really good pickups. And Pope is another good one to consider if you're looking to change keeper, I guess. But all of them are good picks for this game week. On to attacks the target. First in the rankings are Liverpool. Like I said, they have the chance to win the Premier League if they beat Spurs, so they'll want to go out with a bang. I expect a full strength squad. But what does that front four look like full strength? Salah is definitely in there. I'd say Diaz is most likely in there. Then for Jota and Gakpo, it's hard to tell, but I do think one of them will start. Overall, Salah is the most secure in terms of minutes, followed by Diaz. Second in the rankings are Bournemouth. Although the fixtures don't look particularly green, however, they are predicted to double in Game Week 36, so that's definitely a point in their favour. In terms of who to go for, Kluivert, probably my favourite pick as he's on penalties, followed by Evanilson and then Semenyo. What I will say is that Bournemouth have been struggling recently, only one win in their past 8 Premier League games. But if they can click, we know that they can score a lot of goals. Third in the rankings are Newcastle. Again, fixtures aren't exactly amazing besides this Ipswich fixture, but they're not terrible either. Isak, definitely the best option from them. Other than him, it's Murphy for me. I know Barnes has been in amazing form, but with Gordon coming back, it's hard to tell how those minutes will be shared on the left wing, so Murphy is probably the safest pick after Isak, of course. Eighth in the rankings are Forest. The fixtures are decent with Brentford at home this game week, Leicester at home in 36 and West Ham away in 37. Chris Wood is back. He picked up a goal against Spurs, and Alanga is back too. He assisted Wood for that goal. I think they're both ones to consider, especially if you're not free hitting in Game Week 34. On to the stats review, where we analyse the best performing players in every position statistically and combine that with the fixture difficulty ratings. Players in red are the most expensive and in green are the cheapest. For goalkeepers, we're looking at expected goals conceded per 90 against the defensive fixture difficulty ratings. We're really looking for players in the top right quadrant here, outlined by the dashed blue line. At the top of the plot, we have Pickford, Pope for Newcastle just below him, as well as Leno for Fulham and Sells for Forest. I think all 4 of them are good pickups, in and around the same price point as well, and they've all got good fixtures this week too. On to defenders, we're looking at non-penalty expected goal involvement per 90 against the defensive fixture difficulty ratings, multiplied by the team's defensive strength. Again, looking for players in the top right here. Tarkowski at the top, but he is out injured unfortunately. Robinson for Fulham below him. I had to check why Sessegnon wasn't showing up here. It's because he only has 300 minutes and the plot here filters for players with 600 minutes or more, but his expected goal involvement per 90 is 0.5, which would put him way on the far right. Obviously, that is skewed by his low minutes, but still a good sign for owners that he is really attacking, which makes sense as he's playing right wing. But moving on, below them, it's the Liverpool players with Trent and Tsimikas out on the far right, then the Newcastle boys. As you can see, they're not the most attacking defenders, but Dan Burn, Schär and Livramento all have pretty equal attacking data. Then below them, it's the Forest lads with Nico Williams and Milenkovic the most attacking, then Kirkes for Bournemouth, Cucurella for Chelsea, Estupiñán for Brighton and Aït-Nouri for Wolves. On to the midfielders, we're looking at non-penalty expected goal involvement per 90 against the attack and fixture difficulty ratings. Forest at the top with Elanga, the midfielder with the best attacking data, then Buonanotte for Leicester and Adama Traore for Fulham. Below them, it's a big cluster. Out on the far right, we see Barnes has the best attacking data for the Newcastle mids, ahead of Murphy and Gordon. Then the Spurs players with Papsar way out ahead, but his data has been skewed by getting a few high quality chances. Then there's Salah and Jota out ahead for the Liverpool mids, Cole Palmer and Madueke, the standout Chelsea mids. Then below them, some quality players with not so good fixtures. We have De Bruyne, Rodgers, Eze and Sarr, and then Saka, Trossard and Martinelli at the bottom of the plot here. Onto the forwards, Chris Wood at the top here. The fixtures are great. Not the best expected data from him, but like we said, he doesn't need a lot of chances to find the back of the net. Still a great option for the rest of the season. Below him on the right side of the plot, it's Muniz ahead of Raul for Fulham, although Muniz is predicted to be out this game week with an injury. Then we see Cunha for Wolves, good attacking data and fixtures. Wissa out ahead for Brentford, putting up great expected data for his price. Then Isak just below him with better data but a slightly worse fixture difficulty rating. And then Solanke and Evanilson just squeezing into the top right here. On to captaincy. In my top spot, it's Salah against Spurs at home. I know he's been out of form, only 1 assist in the past 4 games, but the narrative behind this game makes me think he'll come back to form. They have the chance to win the league against Spurs. We know they are a shaky defence at best. I fancy Salah to bag a goal or 2 here. Then in second, I have Isak against Ipswich. A really nice fixture here. Newcastle still fighting for that Champions League spot, and he's one of the best players in the league. He's in second, followed by Cunha against Leicester at home in third. Again, targeting the fixture here. Leicester have been so leaky all season. And going with the narrative, Cunha is fighting for a transfer to a big team. He's got a lot of eyes on him. I expect a big performance from him. Then in fourth, I have Sessegnon against Southampton away. And I know this one seems a bit rogue, but I honestly think he is like a genuine captaincy shout this week. And I'm not just saying that, because the way I see it is Fulham, they're a solid defence, so he's got a chance for a clean sheet there. And on top of that, he's playing right wing if he does start, of course. He's in good form, 3 goals and 2 assists in the past 6 games. So if he can combine a goal involvement with a clean sheet, he'll be in for a big points haul. And then finally in fifth, I have Luis Diaz against Spurs at home. Like I said with Salah, Liverpool have the chance to win the league here, and if Diaz plays striker like he did last week, he's going to have a few looks at goal in behind that Spurs defence. I expect him to get something here. On to my Game Week 33 review. 72 points all out, a small green arrow up to 220k. My transfers this game week were Palmer and Murphy to KDB and Rashford, which gained me 10 points, and I was close to going Saka and Rodgers instead of KDB and Rashford, which would have got me 5 points less. So another small gain there. Marmoush captain did not go to plan, but a positive there is that I didn't use my triple captain, so I still have time to use that on a City player in Game Week 36. So pretty happy I saved that chip, but overall I'm still nowhere near where I thought I'd be by this time of the season. A few 50-50 decisions really have not gone my way, and the top 50k dreams quickly slipping away, but top 100k still on the cards, I believe. We've got the free hit this game week, so let's hope we can make some big gains. And speaking of, I'll show you my current free hit draft right now. Now, if you want to see a more in-depth look at how I selected my free hit draft, then check out the recent video on my channel. I go through all the stats and show my decision making for each player. But to summarize, this is my current draft. I've gone for Pope in nets, Aït-Nouri, Reece James and Robinson in defence. In the midfield, I've gone for a Liverpool triple up with Luis Diaz, Salah and Jota, and then Harvey Barnes finishing off the midfield starting 11. Then up front, I've gone for Isak, Cunha and Danny Welbeck. And on the bench, we've got Sanchez and Cucurella, Kluivert and Robinson. Like I said, if you want to hear more about how I selected this team and also the possible changes and variations that I'm considering, then check out the video I've just posted. Unfortunately, I won't be able to stream this weekend as I'm in Austin, Texas, visiting my family. So that's all for today, folks. Go ahead and drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and rate 5 stars on audio if you're listening on Spotify or Apple. We're aiming for 5,000 subscribers by the end of the season, so join the community if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, have a good one.